The Sports Renegades podcast on SportstownChicago.com. Welcome back to the Sports Renegades on SportstownChicago.com. I'm Ryan Stuprich.
And I'm Ryan Risky. And to wrap up the show, we're going to be discussing some of the comments made by the Bennett brothers regarding quarterbacks in the NFL, specifically
I understand,
Jay Cutler.
I understand Martellus would make a comment because he's played with him, but Michael Bennett has no right to talk about Jay Cutler because you never played with him.
Michael Bennett said he was the worst quarterback in the NFL, and that's coming from a guy that has played on a team that started quarterbacks like Matt Flynn and Tavares Jackson.
Yeah, just because you have a good quarterback now doesn't mean that you did.
Yeah, he's played with guys like Tavares Jackson and Matt Flynn, and yet he said Jay Cutler's the worst in the NFL, right, when Jay Cutler's probably a top 15 quarterback, if not a little higher.
My opinion, he's always been better than Matthew Stafford.
I mean, and the thing is, we'll see how he does this year when he actually is throwing to NFL wide receivers and not guys that were signed off the street.
Yeah, which was their problem.
I mean, and he literally was playing with guys that were signed off of the street, and they seem to be very high on their 7th-round pick, Daniel Braverman. Mm-hmm. Seems like he's had a very good camp.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks that Aronis Grasu is out for the year.
And Alshon Jeffrey has another soft tissue injury, injured his hamstring.
I don't think Alshon Jeffrey is. I don't think he's working out. He's exercising with the right people because he's always off on his own doing it.
I mean, he must be.
It's like Derrick Rose.
He must be working out with the Bulls medical staff.
Right. It's like how Derrick Rose went to L.A. to work out every year, and he would come back and he'd be injured all year, and he can't play.
I mean, and those are the injuries that are avoidable, like those hamstring and groin and oblique, like the soft tissue injuries, where the Bears wanted him to work out with Jay Cutler and the rest of the team, and he opted to work out by himself, and now he's already injured again.
Yeah, it seems like he's the type of player who will say that he wants to be here, but really doesn't deep down. He's going to try to find, he's going to try to play where he can get the most amount of money. Now that might be with the Bears, but. I mean, Alshon, he's made some great plays. He's been a pretty good player, but keeps getting hurt.
And the thing was with Jeffrey, if it wasn't for these soft tissue injuries, that plagued him last year and this year, they probably would have gotten a deal done, and he probably would have been one of the highest paid receivers.
Yeah.
Probably would have gotten Dez Bryant, Julio Jones money.
He definitely could have, because he can play like those guys sometimes. Sometimes he can play like them.
He's probably one of the best go up and get it receivers.
Yeah.
That's when he's at his best, is when he's just kind of standing out there and he has to jump up and get the ball.
Right.
I mean, he's very good at that. And one thing that's been very promising is that Kevin White and Jay Cutler have great chemistry already, and they appear to be on the same page.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that's
very good from your prized possession that was your 7th overall pick last year. Last year in the draft, that unfortunately couldn't play last year because of that shin fracture, which it was the right move to have him sit out the entire season, because that's the kind of injury that could really come back to haunt him if it didn't heal properly.
I heard on the radio on the way down here today. I think it was they were talking to John Fox. I think it was Dan Bernstein and Olin Kreutz were talking to him today, and they were talking to John Fox, and he said our defense will definitely be improved, our offense will definitely be improved. He thinks everything's going to be improved. He's not making any promises on how many wins he thinks the Bears are going to have, but he definitely says you're going to see more improvement, and they're still going to be very competitive in games like they were last year.
And, I mean, those are very reasonable statements to expect. And the defense will be better. Well, you have probably one of the best linebacking groups in the NFL now that you signed Danny Trevathan and Jarrell Freeman to go along with Pernell McPhee.
Right.
And then on offense, I mean, you'll have a healthy Kevin White. The offensive line will be another year seasoned. We'll see what Jeremy Langford can do as the starting running back. And
Plus,
hopefully you got Kevin White. That'll be healthy.
Right.
And, tight end, we'll see how Zach Miller replaces Martellus Bennett.
Well, and also, the Bears have one of the easiest schedules this year. When you just look at, the opponents, it's pretty easy.
They could go 7-1 at home because they're playing, the Redskins, the Jaguars, the Titans.
I mean, your hardest matchups are the 2 games against the Packers. And
that's true.
Yeah, so
I mean, I believe they play the 49ers. Oh, they play the 49ers at home this year too.
Right. And the way that they lost some of those games last year, like to Denver and like to San Francisco, I mean, That shouldn't happen again this year.
See, that's the thing. Like, they were losing games by, like, a touchdown or less.
Right. Like
that's the thing that's promising, where this year those games could possibly turn into wins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And it'll be really interesting to see how they start off the season, because they're playing at Houston, and that's a tough defensive team, not so good offensively, but a tough defensive team. And that'll be Brock Osweiler's first start with them, I think.
It will be, and we'll see how the Bears' defense looks. I mean, and Eddie Goldman will be another year seasoned on the defensive line. And he had a very good rookie year. They signed Akeem Hicks.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he's looks like he could be a very, very serviceable guy on the defensive line. So, I mean, the secondary might be a little bit of an issue. I know Adrian Amos is coming back for his second season after a very successful rookie year.
Yeah, he was good. It'll be, the problem is they don't have as much depth. And that was another thing John Fox was talking about, how he says that, all the starting people are good, but we got to stay away from all these injuries.
They had some bad. I mean, it seemed like everyone on the team
because there's not as much depth.
I think it seemed like everyone except Cutler got injured last year.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. I can't believe Michael Bennett said that when he's never even played with them. And Martellus Bennett, he didn't defend Cutler at all.
Yeah, I mean, even though Cutler was his quarterback in his only Pro Bowl season.
Right. I think he said something to the effect of, I'd be wide open and Jay would throw like in double or triple coverage.
Yeah, well, why don't you go up and talk to your quarterback and say, hey, right. I was open right there.
Right. And, I don't think that's, I saw Martellus make catches all the time, so I don't even know what he's talking about.
Yeah, I mean, there were games Bennett would make 10 catches. Especially that Pro Bowl year when he had when he had like 101 receptions and over 900 receiving yards. His only Pro Bowl season was with Jay Cutler. So, I mean, and another thing, Michael Bennett, he played with some terrible quarterbacks when he was with the Buccaneers, too, before he signed with the Seahawks.
How can you say he's the worst quarterback in the NFL when there's people like Ryan Fitzpatrick starting, there's people like Robert Griffin III starting with a second chance.
Johnny Manziel was starting last year.
I mean, there are some people in the NFL that, 5 years ago, no way they'd be starting quarterbacks.
I mean, the thing is, Michael Bennett has played with worse quarterbacks. I mean, he's saying that when he's the kind of guy that was playing when there was guys like Tavares Jackson and Matt Flynn starting, and then whoever terrible quarterback was starting with the Buccaneers when he was there.
I mean, if you just look at the NFC North, Jay Cutler is probably the second best quarterback in the NFC North in his own division. I mean, Teddy Bridgewater might be good. He's a little small. He doesn't throw nearly as well as Cutler.
He doesn't have a very big arm.
Right,
he can't throw
but
deep.
It was only his first year, so we'll see how he does. Or maybe
second year.
Okay, yeah, it was the second year, and I mean
It'll
he's definitely
see
improved.
How Stafford can do without Megatron.
This
will really be the make or break year for
we'll
Stafford.
See.
Can Stafford lead a team?
I can't stand him. I hate Stafford so much. And I mean, I've always said he's better than Jay Cutler. Even when Stafford technically would have like better numbers, I'm like, I would take Jay Cutler over Stafford.
And another thing, like there were like seasons that like Stafford, like when they didn't run the ball, they just had Stafford throw it 50 times a game.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, and I mean, even like when you look at the other quarterbacks in the NFL, I mean, who is just. I mean, there's not a lot of quarterbacks that are clear-cut, a better quarterback than Jay Cutler. There's like 8 or 9 that are like clear-cut, like, yes, he's better than Jay Cutler. Otherwise, it's a lot of back and forth with other players.
Yeah, I mean, a few names come to mind. Aaron Rodgers,
Russell Wilson.
Wilson's just a smart player, and he's very versatile, and he can make throws. And he's done that without a receiving core.
Tom Brady. Roethlisberger is probably better.
Oh, yeah, definitely Roethlisberger.
Drew Brees. So, I mean, that's 5 off the bat. Maybe Eli Manning.
Yeah, no, I don't. I mean,
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, Eli, Rivers, and Cutler.
Maybe Ryan Tannehill.
No, not Ryan Tannehill.
No?
No, not even.
Even
close.
See, that's the thing. There's only like a couple that are clear-cut. That are better than him.
I mean, Andrew
Otherwise,
Luck,
it's a lot of back and forth.
Andrew Luck probably, except we'll see how he does this year because he was terrible last year.
Yeah, but then, when you look at, like, over half of the teams, they barely even have quarterbacks.
That is very true.
So, I mean, the Bears are just lucky to have a durable quarterback who can perform.
Right. I mean, I'd put Tannehill in kind of the tier below Cutler. I'd put, like, Cutler, Rivers, Eli Manning, all in the same group.
Yeah. I would agree with that. Maybe Stafford in that group too, but I don't know.
Yeah, Stafford might be able to get into that group. He's probably on the same level, which, I mean, those are the kind of quarterbacks you can win with as long as you actually have a team around them. And I hate when people go and say, like, how many rings do these quarterbacks have? It's like, well, a ring is a team stat.
Right.
Rings are a team stat. Having a good quarterback.
Football is the ultimate team sport.
Right. A quarterback is the position that can help you get that ring the most by having an elite guy, except a quarterback is not single-handedly cannot get you that ring. And Tony Romo's another guy I'd put in the Cutler class.
Yeah, Tony Romo is
and a lot of those guys are, can definitely win you a Super Bowl if you get a good team.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where
exactly.
Jay Cutler has not played with very many good teams around him.
Yeah. Tony Romo and Jay Cutler, it seems like more than any other quarterback, nobody gives them any credit. Like Tony Romo and Jay Cutler, and they're both pretty good when they're healthy.
Right, the same with Phillip Rivers.
Yeah, I would agree with Phillip Rivers, too. He's got a great arm, never has a good team around him, although he did back.
Rarely has a good offense, never has a good offensive line.
Right, if he had the right offensive line, he'd be much better. He'd have a lot better stats, and it's very interesting. That nobody still. I mean, he's been with the Bears since 2009. Nobody's giving him any credit, and over half of the Bears fan base probably hates him still.
Right. I mean,
who would you rather have?
It is kind of depressing when you think about the fact that the Bears have one postseason appearance since the Super Bowl in 2006.
Yeah, I mean, it's embarrassing, but I think with this coaching staff and with these right people, although the window was closing with Jay Cutler, you kind of got to hurry up and make the postseason, if not this year, next year, and the year after that.
Yeah, I mean, the window is closing because Cutler is over 30.
Yeah.
I mean, you really, really have to. Otherwise, you're going to have to go into another full-out rebuild just to try to get, like, a top pick to get a quarterback when you've already got some good young pieces in play, so you're going to be wasting their good and cheap years on their rookie deals.
All right, we got to get out of here because South Bend Cubs baseball is coming your way next. That starts at 6:05 local time, 7:05 in South Bend. So we're going to get out of here to get ready for that. And, hopefully they can win tonight. I'm Ryan Stuprich.
And I'm Ryan Risky.
We will see you next week. Have a good night. The Sports Renegades podcast on SportsTownChicago.com.